Today's video is sponsored by Squarespace. Visit squarespace.com/BrendanVanson for more details. What's going on, guys? This is video number 2 from New Zealand. If you haven't seen the first one, what are you even doing with your lives? I'm here at Mauie Beach and down on the South Island, and this place is unbelievably beautiful. So we're at Mauie Beach, and it's really, really freaking cool. You've got these really awesome trees that back right onto the beach. They're super dense, and I thought I wanted a photo of that. But as I got out onto the water, and I almost fall down, I found a spot where this stream is coming in, and you get the waves crashing in. And the way they kind of collided just made for some really dramatic water, some really cool water. Unfortunately, it's the middle of the day, so I'm not sure how great the images are. Middle of the day or not, it's great to get your feet wet with a bit of photography. The images are cool, and it's definitely a spot I'd love to come back to in softer light. It was a location scouting victory for sure, because this location is epic, and I will definitely come back here at some point in my life. I absolutely love it here. My greatest limiting belief to being a travel photographer in New Zealand is that it kind of looks like Canada. And yes, absolutely, this beach could be on the west coast of Vancouver Island. So I push on in hopes of finding something more unique. What's unique to me in New Zealand is the rainforest. Sure, we have plenty of similar rainforests in Canada, but in my opinion, it's even more impressive here. It's dense. It's so green it looks blue, and it's perfectly beautiful. I emerge from the greenery and onto a wide, dry riverbed and wander out looking for a waterfall called Roaring Billy. What a great name for a waterfall. I hit the road again, twisting gently along the glacial rivers and through the mountain passes. Not to be a broken record, but we could be in Canada. It reminds me of Kananaskis. From the road, I spot an old railroad bridge and a waterfall bursting through the rocks below. I scramble down and again take a couple photos during the daytime. The power of the water here is impressive, and if I slip off these rocks, it would be a painful trip down the icy rapids. But the risk is worth the reward. So I'm leading a photography scouting trip here in New Zealand, trying to find new and cool locations, or just trying to see what's here in general. And I had absolutely no plan or desire, to be honest, to go to this location that I'm about to go to. But I'm leading 6 other people, and I definitely got outvoted. So we're going to what might be the most photographed spot in the entire Southern Hemisphere. We're going to the famous Wanaka tree. And I don't know how I feel about it. We just drove up and I saw like a row of 15 people standing in front of it. So we'll see how we go. With things like this, it's not that I don't think it's a cool photo or a worthy photo. I'm just like, what can I add to this? What can I do different to this? And the answer is probably nothing. So we'll see how this goes. So one of the issues with this location that I'm seeing already is I see a really cool composition that actually I've never seen before, which is the curving beach leading into it. But you will never be able to take that photo here because there is, I guess, 30 people standing there and they're right on that line. So you kind of just have to take what you get, and it makes it harder to create something unique or different. So I'm actually gonna try not to think too much about this. I see the composition that looks the nicest, which I think is tree on the right, island on the left, mountain in the background, and I'm just gonna sit there and take the photo and enjoy the sunset. I used to really enjoy photographing iconic locations, trying to put my own spin on things. but after a while, it started to feel like paint by numbers. These days, I've learned to simply embrace the idea of not worrying about capturing anything special. Rather, just finding a good spot and enjoying the beauty and the scene. So I plop down on the beach, set my tripod at my feet, take some pictures, and could kinda care less if they're good or not. Oh yeah, that'll work. That'll do, pig. So I'm not sure I loved the experience at the Wanaka tree, but I'm loving this experience the following morning. We didn't think there was going to be any light. We kind of came out a little bit late, and then of course there was light. So we've driven further away from Wanaka. I can't remember what this place is called, Glendew or something like that. And there's just these beautiful reflections of these mountains all around. It's a little bit tricky to find a foreground for a photo, but it's just like beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I think actually far more beautiful than it is back at the Wanaka tree. If the Wanaka tree was here, it would be even more famous. This location is a little bit more my style. There are some nice rocks along the water's edge to use as anchors. There are beautiful layers of mountains off in the distance, and the light is absolutely kicking off. A tuft of grass poking out of the water catches my attention first. Then, as the light absolutely pops off, I scramble to take as many photos as I can. With light this good, you can hardly do anything wrong. Leaving Wanaka, the scouting mission takes me to another place that's definitely on the New Zealand tourism map, Queenstown. So the goal of this trip was to try to discover new photos, or at least just to see what was here. And so part of that is seeing the touristy things like the Wanaka tree. And while I'm here in New Zealand in general, but especially in places like here in Queenstown, I'm feeling like this weird sense of placelessness. I don't really know where I am because it reminds me so much of places like Whistler. It reminds me of British Columbia everywhere I go here. And it's just kind of like tripping my brain out. Like I totally forget I'm in New Zealand and I'm not in Canada. I'm not in Whistler. It has like this sense of feeling like I'm home. And then occasionally I'll just see something and be like, oh yeah, I'm not home. It's kind of weird. Isn't it strange how some place that's almost quite literally the exact opposite part of the world from home can feel so familiar? It's almost like someone dug a hole from Canada to New Zealand to connect them. But as cool as Queensland seems to be, I'm not really feeling it, if we're being quite honest. So I hit the road and head south, like south-south. So we made it to Teanau yesterday afternoon, and the weather's been kind of bleak. So we kind of took the evening off, took the morning off, and this morning we're headed towards Milford Sound. It's raining here, and I was kind of like, well, that sucks. And everybody's going, actually, you want it to be raining in Milford Sound. That sounds weird to me, but I guess there's probably a reason. So let's head down the valley towards Milford Sound. In a week in which we were making stops at iconic location after iconic location, I definitely had a sense of reservation about Milford Sound. Would it just remind me of home? Was it really as cool as they say? Was it as cool as, say, the fjords in Norway? Will we even be able to get to the coolest parts? It's raining. That sucks, right? But as we pressed into the area, it became pretty apparent that this place was like nowhere else in the world. This place is special. Yeah, we're here in Fiordlands National Park, and I can definitely tell you why people want it to be rainy here. Because it's really, really dramatic. You've got lingering clouds, you've got little waterfalls rolling down, and you've just got so much drama and so much photographic opportunity here with layers of mountains. It's absolutely beautiful. I haven't really taken any photos, to be honest, other than of the lupins back there, but I'm seeing the potential here, and I'm starting to feel like I'm not in Canada anymore. Still has some Canada vibes for sure, Vancouver Island, but yeah, you can see why this is so special, and you can kind of see why they want the rain here. Each kilometer we press into the gorge, the more impressive it all becomes. The rainforest tightens its grip on the landscape, and the mountains start to overwhelm the valley. Eventually, we come across an opening. Along the river, there's a massive bloom of lupins. And like good light, it's hard to take a bad photo of lupins. Soon after, a photo appears on the road itself. With rain peeling down, I'd normally be annoyed, but here in Milford Sound, it means that the falls are pumping, and the valley walls turn to a mural of falls and lingering clouds. Along a heavy river, I decide to brave the rain to try to capture the valley as the skies start to open up. This place is magical, it's enchanting, and it has me excited to dive into its nature. Every chance I get, I stop, I explore. So I've been saying quite a bit while in New Zealand that everything kind of reminds me of Canada. One of the things that stopped me for so many years from coming to New Zealand was because I was like, it's probably just a lot like Canada. And in many ways, it's felt like that throughout the trip, up until we got to Milford Sound. Here, it feels like something special, like a wonder of the world. Like, it's absolutely unbelievably beautiful, powerful, impressive, and unlike anything I've ever seen before in my life, and worth the trip just for this. We only have one day here in Milford Sound. I wish I had a month, or at least a week. I would love to come here with a camper van and just spend like a week exploring and photographing and getting off trail, getting to places like this waterfall and getting in the water to photograph it. There are just so many freaking options for incredible photos that I'm so overwhelmed. The best thing about a scouting trip is that you get to see so much. The downside is that you realize you need to dedicate a year to properly explore the places you're scouting. Every turn in here is a place I want to explore more. Every place I look, I see photos. We have a boat reservation once we arrive to the end of the fjord and arrive at Milford Sound. But it's so hard to keep on time when every 5 minutes there's a photo we're stopping for. Eventually though, we do make it. And as the rain continues to batter down on us, we set off into one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. I'll save the photos for the end of the journey, but let's just say that my camera is essentially working in overdrive. There are just too many images to be made here. Every direction is something worth capturing. And I mean, the scale of this place. There are times we'll see another boat off in the distance pressed against the walls of the sound, and it's only then that you realize how wildly impressively immense this place is. It also becomes so obvious why there needs to be rain here. One of the things that gives this place so much beauty is the steady stream of tumbling waterfalls, few of which would be here on a sunny blue sky day. And to not disrupt the mood, I'll shut up now and let you enjoy the scenery and the imagery. Woo! That boat cruise was absolutely, unbelievably beautiful. I'm absolutely loving Milford Sound. And it's now about an hour until sunset, and I'm looking around and scouting, trying to find a photo for sunset. The weather is cleared off for a bit. It's apparently supposed to come back in fairly soon, but if you can look over my shoulder, you can see that there's some pretty cool stuff happening back that way. But it is not an easy photo because the peaks are so stark and a little bit unbalanced in how they sit, and the foreground's messy and ever-changing because the tide's coming up. So it might be a bit of a mission to find a photograph here, but it's so much fun hunting around to try to find a photo. I found something I like back there. I'm looking at the shores to see if there's reflections here. I'm having fun. And honestly, how could a photographer not have fun in a place like this? I've been saying for this whole New Zealand series how I felt like I was in Canada. Well, Dorothy, we're not in Canada anymore. Woo, that was an awesome couple days here in southern New Zealand. I would definitely like to come back to this area. Maybe, like I said, with a camper van or just camping in a tent would be incredible as well. The one thing I will tell you that they don't tell you about southern New Zealand is the sandflies, the little mozzies, are intense. I haven't slept properly for 2 days because I've just been bit like nuts. Luckily, why sleep when things are this incredible outside? Yeah, I think there's going to be one more video from here in New Zealand, so I'll see you there. Peace. Squarespace is a great place to build your photography website and business. It gives you all the tools you need to get rolling, including the new Design Intelligence, which combines 2 decades of design expertise with cutting-edge AI technology that'll help empower you to build the perfect site for you. Through your website on the Squarespace platform, you can also invoice clients, accept payments, and build an online store. There's even a scheduling platform which will save you time when booking and organizing client jobs. To get started, visit squarespace.com/BrendanVanson for more details and a 10% discount off your first purchase.